On October 2011 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, the landlord of an apartment complex in the Tacony neighborhood went to inspect the apartment owned by then 51-year-old Linda Ann Weston after receiving reports of suspicious activity. The landlord went into the apartment and discovered 4 mentally disabled adults locked in the basement in deplorable conditions as part of a Social Security benefit fraud scheme. They were all huddled under a stained, urine-soaked blanket in a cold, dark boiler room that was 6 feet tall by 15 feet wide. One of the men was even chained to the boiler. Linda and 4 others, including her own daughter, were arrested and charged. But a look at Linda's background showed an extremely sinister past. Welcome to History's Biggest Villains. Not too much is really known about Linda's upbringing, but her first brush with the law came in 1981. Her sister Venus was dating a man named Bernardo Ramos, who was also the father of her unborn child. Linda was upset at him for not paying child support to Venus, so she hit him in the back of the head with a hammer and locked him in a closet, starving him for 2 months until he died. Linda's younger brother, who was 11 years old at the time, was also bound and gagged in that same closet. When Ramos finally died of starvation, Linda crammed his body into a baby stroller and forced Venus and her younger brother to go dispose of the body. The younger brother said that Linda held a knife to his throat, telling him that Venus would stab him if he tried to run. She even went as far as tying a rope around him, securing him to Venus so that he wouldn't escape. Venus dumped Ramos's body in a parking lot along Spring Garden Street, but the brother's suffering didn't end there. She hit me a few times and slammed the door in my face and said, "If you make any noise, I will finish the job," her brother said. Months later, after Linda Ann left the house, he worked his way out of the extension cords tied around his hands and tried the door to the closet. I opened the door and it opened. I didn't believe it opened. It was like, wow, the door was open. It looked like it was a mile away to a window. In reality, it was across the floor. It didn't take a second to get to. I ran as soon as I hit the ground. I didn't care what I stepped on, rocks, grass, I jumped over a fence. Linda and Venus were charged with third-degree murder, and Linda was given an 8-year sentence, which she paroled out in 4 years. After she was released from prison, she successfully petitioned the courts to get her children back. According to her son, Jason McIntosh, Linda abused her own children as well. "We didn't know about her background," Joseph told the Philadelphia Daily News. "The Department of Health Services knew about her history. They knew who she was, but they still released us into her custody, all of us at a young age." He said his mother locked him in the basement for a year to prevent him from running away, which he said would have reduced her welfare payments. She fed him noodles and Kool-Aid mixed with drugs, he said. He finally escaped in 1998 when he was sent upstairs to wash, but instead walked outside into a yard and hopped the fence. McIntosh also said that Winston even chained up his sister Jean, who ended up becoming an accomplice to her mother's most heinous scheme. In 2001, Linda devised a scheme along with her boyfriend Gregory Thomas, Eddie Wright, a homeless man, and her daughter Jean McIntosh. Weston ran this operation as sort of an organized crime family. They each rented properties in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Killeen, Texas, Norfolk, Virginia, and West Palm Beach, Florida. The scheme was to target mentally challenged individuals who were estranged from their families. Once Linda convinced them to move in, she became their representative payee with Social Security and began to receive their disability benefits and in some instances their state benefits. Within a few weeks of taking her victims, Weston would soon earn between $400 and $800 per person from the federal government. Some of the female abductees, including her own niece, were forced to either go into prostitution to earn some more money for the family, or they were forced to give birth so that Weston could collect benefits for the children as well. There are apparently several complaints made to the city of Philadelphia that Weston was keeping children locked in the basement, but these pleas were ignored. Weston and her accomplices confined their victims to locked rooms, basements, closets, attics, and apartments. While confined, the captives were often isolated in the dark and sedated with drugs placed in their food and drink by Weston and the other defendants. When the individuals tried to escape, stole food, or otherwise protested their treatment, Weston and the others punished them by slapping, punching, kicking, stabbing, burning, and hitting them with closed hands, belts, sticks, bats, hammers, and other objects, including the butt of a pistol. In April 2005, Weston and a co-defendant lured in Donna Spadea. They brought Donna to a property on 2211 Glenview Avenue in Philadelphia. Donna Spadea was kept in the basement with the other victims, malnourished and not allowed to use the bathroom. On June 26, 2005, Donna Spadea was found dead in the basement after being fed drug-laced food. Weston ordered the other members of the household to move her body to a different location. In 2008, Maxine Lee was living with the family. She was beaten either when she tried to escape or when she begged for food, and never received medical attention for any of her injuries. After Weston moved the operation to Virginia in 2008, she confined Maxine inside a kitchen cabinet in the attic for several months. Maxine died of bacterial meningitis and starvation in November 2008. Weston ordered other members of the household to move Maxine's body to a bedroom and staged the scene like an overdose before calling the police. The next day, the family left for Philadelphia. Tamara Breeden was a captive in the basement for 10 years. Breeden first met Weston near 9th and Lehigh Street. Weston asked Breeden if she would be willing to babysit. Breeden would not be paid in cash, but instead with a roof over her head, and Breeden agreed to the stipulation. She was nice before, but then she turned on me, Breeden said. She kept on whooping me with bats and sticks. Breeden never received any medical attention, she said. I kept praying to Jesus, hoping to get back home. The whole operation crumbled in 2011 when a landlord performed an inspection on the apartment of the Tacony neighborhood in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. The landlord found 4 mentally disabled adults locked in a squalid boiler room and called the police. One of the men was found chained to the boiler. 6 children, ages 2 to 19, were taken into custody. Police believe that they frequently traveled with Weston and her gang as they relocated to avoid police detection. One of the children was Linda's niece, Beatrice, who was 19 at the time. Although they weren't kept in the basement, most of the children were malnourished. Tamara Breeden is believed to be the mother of 2 of the children. Beatrice received the most punishment out of all the children, as when the police found her, she had fractures, burn marks, pellet wounds, and scars all over her body. She said that Weston forced her into prostitution, starved her, denied her education, and beat her regularly. The police say that Linda had 50 different IDs in her home, so the total number of victims in this scheme is impossible to say. The operation netted the crew over $270,000 in fraudulent Social Security benefits over a 10-year period. In January 2013, the 4 original defendants and a 5th, Nicholas Woodard of West Palm Beach, Florida, were charged by a federal grand jury with a total of 196 criminal counts, including hate crime charges. And this was the first time that the hate crime law was applied to people with disabilities. All 5 defendants were charged with 4 counts of a hate crime, conspiracy, racketeering, and kidnapping. Weston, McIntosh, and Thomas were charged with involuntary servitude. Weston was charged with 2 counts of murder with confinement and abuse, allegedly causing the deaths of 2 victims. She was sentenced in September 2015 to life plus 80 years, admitting to all 196 counts against her, including murder, kidnapping, sex trafficking, hate crimes, forced labor, and benefits fraud. Jean McIntosh pleaded guilty in December 2014 to charges including conspiracy to commit racketeering, hate crimes against disabled people, and kidnapping resulting in death. She received a 40-year sentence. Woodard also received a 40-year sentence. Wright received a 27-year sentence. Thomas received a life sentence. This case really stuck out to me because I have a brother with autism, and I get really defensive over him. Like I get wary around people because I know that some people are just really conniving and really low down that they would take advantage of somebody like that. This is the nastiest thing one of the most disgusting things I've ever seen. You take advantage of disabled people knowing that they can't defend themselves to scheme and to try to get some money out of it. Like, you made $27,000 a year off of a scam. Like, is that really worth that much? Was it really worth it? It was worth all of that. And the fact that 2 people died. She really killed 3 people. Linda really killed 3 people because the boyfriend back in the 80s, then the 2 women that were with her in her quote unquote care. She's really a triple murderer. Like, I don't even understand like how someone can do this. I don't know. That was something that I saw. I just had to make a video on because that just really irked the crap out of me, because that made me so angry when I was reading and researching. I'm like, why? For $270,000 over 10 years? That's nothing. That's literally nothing. But of course, like, all this, I guess they felt like it was something because it was illegal money. They didn't have to work for it. But I don't know. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video. Hit the subscribe button if you're new to the channel. Don't forget to turn on my post notifications. Thank you so much for all the support on this channel, man. I know I've been kind of iffy, been kind of inconsistent, but I'm gonna get back on my stuff, man. But I really appreciate all the support. But leave a like, hit that subscribe button. I'm out. Peace.